it all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. We are the best on the field. And we in the field like all day like all night like on the blue light, offense like, defense like, this squad like, house call like, and it sound like, and it sound like, and it sound like.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Wednesday, November 2nd, 2016. And we got a jam-packed show once again, like always, for you guys. Ton of news to talk about. Of course, college football, the college football playoff poll came out this week. Yesterday, we're going to talk about that because I'm not agreeing with it a little bit. But I get it. It's all ratings. It's part of the controversy they needed to have. So I'm not going to stress too much about it, but we will talk about it here on the show. Also, Tennessee running back wants out. Their star running back plans to transfer. What else we have? We have Cam Newton possibly taking unnecessary hits. I'm going to explain to you why Tom Brady is and will be the MVP, even though he's only played 4 games, and how much Roger Goodell does not want him to win the MVP. We will talk about that, as well as some other news. First off, this week has been an exciting week. This week wraps up the last week of the regular season for Texas high school football. And, of course, I've been able to, with the opportunity to be on the team for the San Marcos High School coaching staff. And it's awesome because not only did they make the playoffs last year, this year, they now have a chance to win their first district championship since 2005. Huge opportunity. They play Austin Bowie. Right now, both teams are tied for first place. So if you're in the Central Texas area, be sure to come on out. Check out our team. It's a home game in San Marcos. I'm excited for it. I know these guys will be too. You also follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show to keep you guys posted. Another couple things I wanted to talk about were some goals that I have for the show. Now, right now on YouTube, we have a little over 1,100 subscribers. On Spreaker, we have over 2,000 subscribers over there. iHeartRadio, iTunes. I'm not able to really, I can see where people are listening from. It doesn't tell me how many. So that I don't know. But I'm guessing it's somewhere around there. What I did want to talk about was some of the goals that I have for the show, something I want to accomplish with the show. Now, again, it's been an incredible growth for the show, and I'm excited for it. You guys have given me many opportunities now with new sponsors, more advertisers on the show, and the ability to cover NBA games, which we will get to. Broadband TV, that's on them. I'm set to go. I am waiting on them so they can hook me up with the tickets that I was supposed to get earlier. So that's on them. I'm waiting on them right now. Because Short Sports, so you already know, we're ready. We're ready. We'll go out to any game right now. But some goals that I have for YouTube right now, and we're going to strive like crazy. We're going to be working each and every week like crazy to get this going. I'm going to need your help for those who are already subscribed to YouTube. And if you're not subscribed to YouTube and you listen to the show weekly, please go subscribe because I got awesome content for you guys. And I'm going to have exclusive content, like I have been saying, on YouTube only. So you won't be just hearing the audio version. So on YouTube, by the end of the year, I want to have 1,500 or more subscribers. 1,500 plus subscribers on YouTube by the end of 2016. Gives us 2 months. 2 months to gain about 400 subscribers. Might sound like a lot to some people. I know how YouTube works, and it's really not a whole lot to get there. It's really not. And with the listeners I already have, the 2,000 plus on Spreaker, the 1,000 that listen to iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, and elsewhere, and even on YouTube. Best way to get this done is to share. Share. Even if you think, no, your family and friends won't like it, just go ahead and share. You never know. I think they'll like it. I think you like it. They should like it. It's that easy. And tell them to subscribe. You click that red button. It's completely free. And that's all it is. And it shows your support to the show. Shows me that I'm doing the right thing with this show. So that is what I want to do. 1,500 on YouTube alone. Try to get to 3,000 on Spreaker. And those are the goals. Those are the goals. Of course, check out InnerGrind. I've been using it like crazy now that I finally have a gym membership. I can go and get to a real gym. So go check out InnerGrind. You don't even have to be in the Houston, Texas area. You can get in the best shape of your life, eating healthy, and just getting in the best shape that you want. I'm getting there. If a skinny me can almost look like I'm getting some muscle now, it's a huge confidence booster right now. I'm telling you guys, I feel it and I see it. I'm seeing results. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it too. Whether your goal is to lose weight, gain muscle mass, or just get in better shape of your life, InnerGrind is the place to be.
Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? And whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not in the Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Simmons, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind.
All right, we'll start off with college football news first. And one of the biggest news that came out is for the Tennessee Volunteers. Their running back Jalen Hurd had told teammates and staff members that he plans to transfer. And it was confirmed on Monday, that by Butch Jones that, yes, Jalen Hurd will transfer. Now, I did see the report that he will finish out the season with the Volunteers. I do not know. That was before Butch Jones had confirmed that Jalen Hurd would transfer. I don't know if that's going to change his plans, if he's planning on continuing to play for the Volunteers the rest of the season. But either way, this is it for Jalen Hurd. And here becomes something we're not truly seeing. And we have to dig a little deeper. Now, for people that don't know Jalen Hurd, other than he's, their best running back, he's also 6'4". A 6'4" running back is very, very uncommon. And his reasoning for transferring said that he wants to switch positions and will attempt to play either wide receiver or tight end at the new school. Okay, why didn't Tennessee? I mean, if you watch highlights, if you watch film on Jalen Hurd, you want the ball in his hands. So I get why they put him at running back, because it's the best way to get the ball in someone's hands other than at quarterback. But why transfer? Butch Jones wouldn't let you switch positions? It should have been an easy type of thing to be like, okay, well, I want to play this because it's better for my draft stock. So going into next season when he's a senior, this could, let me just switch positions. It helped the team out still. I would still be able to make plays and do what's best for me. Apparently, that did not happen. The question was not even asked to Butch Jones on whether he would allow him to switch positions, which is a little shocking. That wasn't even asked. And then Hurd later on said that he wants to play in a different style of offense. He wants to play an I formation offense, a.k.a. some Big Ten school. Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska's really spread. So we'll see what happens, but it makes you start to wonder and start thinking there's something else that happened at Tennessee, or that is happening at Tennessee, that Jalen Hurd is not getting along with some of the coaching staff, or is just not liking it there anymore, for him to want to transfer. And why a coaching staff, when you have arguably one of your best offensive talents, wanting to switch positions, in which a position he could play. It's not like he's a 5'11" running back trying to switch to a slot receiver. He's 6'4". He's got the body to play a wide receiver or potentially tight. I don't know. Tight end, he's a little slim for tight end. We'll have to see. Last year in 2015, he rushed for 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. Also had 2 receiving touchdowns. This year, he's been plagued by injuries. He didn't play the second half of Saturday's loss to South Carolina, and we'll just have to see what happens with him and where he wants to go. But it is a little shocking for a star player like Jalen Hurd wanting to transfer. One, that's shocking enough, but then also that they're not allowing him to switch positions. So, college football playoff rankings came out Tuesday, and of course, there had to be some controversy. It's all about the money. It's all about TV, and makes sense. So, one of the biggest things we got to understand that an undefeated record for any team does not guarantee you a top slot, top 4, or higher ranking than a one-loss team. That is understandable. We've seen this happen many, many times, and even including into the AP poll that it happens that way. So that wasn't shocking. What was shocking to many, and even most of the A&M fans that I know, I'm in the state of Texas. I know a ton of A&M fans, and they were shocked when they saw their one-loss Texas A&M team in the number 4 spot, ahead of the undefeated number 5 Washington team. Now, first things everybody's going to throw out is, well, look at Washington's schedule. Washington hasn't played. They literally have the worst non-conference schedule. I thought it was just in the Pac-12. No, it's literally the worst. So that sucks. That really does suck. But if you look at A&M, it's not that much better. You can't gloat about your UCLA win, the comeback win that you had, or it wasn't even a comeback. It was really a comeback by UCLA. You can't even claim that as a big victory because we now seen how UCLA is. And even when, and I know Josh Rosen, they just talked about him, that he's now going to be out for the year. He's been injured. He was banged up. You had a healthy Josh Rosen, and we saw what that team was like. UCLA is just not that good this year. And you look at their other teams that played, UTSA, New Mexico State, some other weak school. It really kind of parallels straight with Washington's non-conference schedule. Your one loss is to Alabama, the number 1 team, unanimous number 1 team in the country right now. Cool. But it was also a blowout. It wasn't a close game. And it's not like we talk about there's no moral victories in college football. That shouldn't have been a moral victory. You got beat. And if the playoffs were to end today, I know it's always fun to talk about, if the season were to end today, A&M would be playing Alabama. Is this really a rematch we would like to see? Because it's probably going to end in the same result, not only an Alabama win, but most likely another Alabama blowout. Is that really what we want to put in the Peach Bowl? I don't think so. An Alabama-Washington game, that's something. That's intriguing. It's something we would like to see. Now, of course, the season doesn't end today. We have several more weeks into the college football season, and when you get to the end of the season, a lot more things happen. Alabama still has to play LSU this week. There's no guarantee that Alabama will beat LSU, and it's going to be a fun matchup. It always is. Now, it could be another Alabama blowout, but we'll see. Same thing with Clemson. Clemson is barely getting by each week, beating teams. Michigan is just dominating everybody, and we'll see with A&M and Washington. Now, the funny thing is that while this is why I'm not a Husky fan, but I did get accepted to go, and I did live there. But for Husky fans, you shouldn't really. You should just relax. Don't freak out because you didn't get in right now. 1, the season doesn't end today. And 2, if it does, and you keep winning, that's all you have to do is just keep winning. And you're in. They cannot put a Pac-12 champion in Washington if they win the Pac-12 championship and a A&M team who basically would be second placed in the SEC because they can't make the SEC championship unless Alabama loses twice, then you're right in it. That's why I think it was just to create controversy, create talk, maybe spark some ratings in some of the games, because this won't stand. This poll, the 3-4 slot, will not stand at the end of the season if Washington and even A&M keep winning. A&M could win by 50 the rest of the season, and they will not get in over Pac-12 champion. Because if you do that, if the committee did that, whoo, man, are we going to have problems. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the entire college football landscape is going to just freak out if you don't include a Power 5 conference winner who is undefeated and been dominating, not in the top 4, and you put a one-loss non-championship conference championship member in. It won't happen. It can't happen. So that's why they really shouldn't freak out. That was the main thing. Again, if the season were to end today, it would be Alabama A&M in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Clemson and Michigan, which would be a fun game to watch. Which I really want an Alabama-Michigan game. That's what I want. I just don't see a team jumping Michigan unless UW seriously goes out and wins by 50 plus or more in every single game the rest of the season and just dominates. And Michigan has a couple slip-ups or barely beats Ohio State in an ugly game or something. I really don't see Michigan dropping from 3. They most likely could go to 2. So, and in that case, they would just play, opposite 2 or 3. So that might not happen, but I would love to see that. Let's see what else we have. We have, if the Rose Bowl game were to happen, we would have Washington and Ohio State. That would be fun to watch. Let's see. The Sugar Bowl would be Oklahoma and Auburn. Yeah, kind of boring. And then the Orange Bowl would be Louisville and Wisconsin. That would be an actual really fun game to watch. But relax, Washington fans. Relax, Husky fans. A&M, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you're basically just a big old tease. That's all you are. Because you will not make the college football playoffs unless Washington loses at some point in the season. If Washington loses one game, which it's a terrible thing, they could win the Pac-12 and lose a game, and they're out. That's just how it is. It's terrible, but that's just how it goes. Especially if it's an SEC team like A&M, they will most likely throw them in there over a Pac-12 team in Washington, a one-loss team. But then you get Ohio State in there. If they beat Michigan, this might be the year that we talk more about expanding the playoffs to 6 or 8 teams. And that's a different discussion. That's a different video that we could talk about. But this might be the year, depending on what happens with Ohio State, with Louisville. They're looking like they're out, but they still only just have one loss. How that goes with them. Washington, A&M, I mean, this might be the year we seriously have real discussions about expanding the playoffs to 6 to 8, or it all just works itself out and we'll just have the best 4 teams, which hopefully we will. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Also, tweet me at Short Sports Show and become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. So we'll see. We shall see. That's definitely going to be interesting to see that all work out. Man, these allergies are killing me. I don't know. Texas is just so weird. Of course, Big 12 chaos. I said I wanted it once TCU was completely out, in which they are. Good. Ooh, man, weird. Bad. I wanted Big 12 chaos from there on out. And it looks like we're getting it. Baylor, they traveled to Austin, Texas, and apparently Charlie Strong can only beat top 10 teams. So next year, if he is still there, in which he should be, he should definitely go ahead and just reschedule the whole entire non-conference slate, no matter who they have next year, whatever the buyout pay, just pay it off and just play teams that you believe have a 90% chance being in the top 10 next year. Because then you should be able to go undefeated. Because that's all he beats. He can't beat the normal teams. Then number 10, West Virginia. They were the last hope for the Big 12 being undefeated, and they lost. They traveled to Oklahoma State and fell to them as well, which is all but ensuring the Big 12 out of the college football playoffs. They're out. A one-loss Baylor or a one-loss West Virginia team will not make the college football playoffs, especially over a one-loss Ohio State, a one-loss Louisville. And honestly, I think the committee, even though they're led by Texas Tech's athletic director, I do not believe the committee would even think about putting a one-loss Baylor or a one-loss West Virginia team over even a one-loss Washington team. I just don't see it happening. Oklahoma is the only team in the Big 12 that has not lost the conference game, but they already have 2 losses. And yes, their 2 losses are to Ohio State and Houston. And who would have thought that we would have said Houston would be a bad loss? Because now it is. Houston is garbage. They're terrible. They've quit already. The whole team has quit. Half the coaching staff looks like they're just about done. They don't care anymore because they all know that Tom Herman is gone. He's leaving Houston. I didn't think I'd say it. I thought, I truly believed he was going to stay at Houston for several more years. And maybe that's foolish of me, but I truly thought there was some good in his heart that he would make sure that the Houston Cougars would be setting a footprint in the state of Texas. But it looks like it's just been a chew and done type of thing for him. He looks just like he's ready to go as well, and the players know it because there's no way they should be playing close games against Central Florida, SMU, and a few of the other teams that they've already had close wins or losses by. They've just quit. So whether Tom Herman goes to Texas or not, Tom Herman is gone and Houston's quit. But and that sucks for Oklahoma because it's no longer a good loss. It's a bad loss. So yeah, Big 12's done. I'm kind of happy for it. It's selfish. It's selfish. I know. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it at all. But when your team has multiple 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2, maybe even 3rd and 3, what do you expect your team to do? Probably and most likely run the freaking ball. I don't care if you have Mike Leach as your head coach. At 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, maybe 3rd and 3 you pass it, but 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, guess what you're doing? You're running the ball, especially when you're playing a team that has the 118th rushing defense. You're most likely running the ball. You know what TCU decided to do this past weekend? I'm sorry I'm ranting, but this is my last statement on it. You know what they decided to do? They decided, let's throw a fade route. One of the most, the least completed passes in college football. They threw that on a 3rd and 1. And of course, you know what happened? It was incomplete. Either a bad throw by Kenny Hill or no adjustment by the wide receivers. Or both. And they were forced to punt, and guess what happened? They punt the ball on 4th and 1. Yeah. So, TCU, that's my team. I love them. I bleed purple. But, damn, I know we have an air raid offense, but at some point you have to just say, look, we gotta throw the ball. We gotta run the ball here just a couple times. More than, when you have okay, I'm done. I cannot rant because the whole show will be a rant on TCU. I seriously could do an entire hour of ranting on TCU football. Not proud of it. Not proud of it at all, but I definitely could do it. Now, Clemson, Clemson fans are probably not feeling the same way I am with TCU, but it's been another close win for Clemson. They're getting the close wins. They're doing just enough to get the W. But how long is that going to last? How long can Clemson keep it up where they're squeaking by victories? Yes, it was Florida State and in Tallahassee, a very tough environment, tough game. And honestly, they probably should have lost that game over bad officiating rule. But coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? You won 37-34. But is this going to be enough leading into the most likely a playoff for them? And in a playoff game, and right now, if they were to play Michigan, are they doing enough to beat a Michigan team? I don't think so. All Clemson has to do is win out. They got a spot in the playoffs, right? And those games could go overtime. It could be in on a fluke, kind of like the Michigan State game last year, or finish 6-3. Either way, Clemson just needs to win, and they do that. No style points need to be scored, and you're in the playoffs. Good, right? Not hating. Now, if the season we're in today, they got Michigan. Not really a team the way that Clemson's playing that's not really how you want to play against a Michigan type of team. Now the Clemson Tigers, they have Syracuse up next, Pittsburgh at Wake Forest, and South Carolina at the end of the season, then the ACC championship. And so we'll have to see who that will be. Now, on paper, before the ACC championship, those are all W's, right? But the way Clemson's playing, there might be a shocker in those remaining 4 games. So, is Clemson doing enough? And they've got to get a couple blowout victories. You know, in the past, Syracuse would have been one. Syracuse, and it still might, but I always, for some weird reason, I keep hope for Syracuse. I always do. With Dino Babers there, I keep hope alive for them. But most likely, that's a W for Clemson. And while it shouldn't be a 37-34 type of ball game, it feels like one of those games where they're going to struggle here a bit and then start to pull away. Maybe the score looks like doesn't really resemble what the game really was. Yeah, Pittsburgh, a very good one. Clemson gets lucky that it's at Clemson, because if it was at Pitt, it's a little tougher. Pat Narduzzi knows how to get the defense prepared. So that's going to be one of the most interesting games. At Wake Forest, that should be a good, and I want to say easy win, because of the talent that Clemson has. A lot of these games should be easy wins. And in South Carolina, I think they should blow them out again. But is Clemson doing just enough to squeak by? Absolutely. But is that going to be able to be enough for the playoff games? I don't think so. And I think Clemson is setting themselves up for basically failure in the end, because a Michigan team will take advantage of what Clemson's, their 3-and-outs, their failed missed opportunities. They are going to take advantage of it, and Clemson might dig themselves in a hole where they just can't get out. That's how I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm feeling. Let me know if I'm wrong. Tweet me at Short Sports Show. It's what I'm seeing. It's what I'm seeing in Clemson. I'm not, I hope I'm wrong, because I like Deshaun Watson a lot. I hope they can get it done. But it's not looking promising. Not looking promising at all. Now, Ohio State, they're another team that right now is starting to look kind of like Clemson, in which they're squeaking by. They're doing just enough. Now, the Buckeyes, they rebounded from their October 22nd loss to Penn State, right? They got a win over Northwestern, but it wasn't the style of a top 4 type team. And now they see themselves at an outsider at number 6. Because, there's still a chance for Ohio State. Of course, they beat Michigan. It's hard to see them out of it. It's hard to see them out of it. And that matchup will likely determine the Big Ten East winner with that game. The problem is, if they continue to struggle offensively the way they are the past 2 weeks, they might not even beat Nebraska this week. JT Barrett was left out of the end zone the whole game against Northwestern. And this wasn't the old Northwestern the past 2 years, or 2 years ago, when they were, up there in the top 15, top 10. This Northwestern now, who is not really just that good. So the passing attack continues to lack the explosiveness down the field. The offensive line is not really making the same holes like they were earlier in the season. And of course, Ohio State is banged up. They do have a few injuries. But outside of Noah Brown at receiver, no one has made an impact. No one has. Now JT Barrett, he produced 3 consecutive scoring drives, but it was Curtis Samuel who was really the main guy for them. So now it's another top 10 showdown for Urban Meyer going against Nebraska, and we'll see. We'll see how that is and how that goes for. I guess Nebraska wasn't number 10 anymore, or in the top 10. So we'll see how they handle Nebraska, and this really has to be a good game, because now Ohio State is in the boat of, we got to have a little bit of style points here in how we beat these top 25 teams, because we look at A&M and Washington. They only have one win over a top 25 team. That's it. Ohio State already has, I believe, 3. So these are the games that the committee is going to look at, and really comes down to beating Michigan, but it means absolutely nothing if they can't beat Nebraska this week. Baylor starting quarterback Seth Russell is going through a concussion protocol this week, but Bears interim head coach Jim Grobe believes Russell will be fine to play on Saturday against TCU. Sadly. Russell experienced some potential concussion-related symptoms late Saturday night after a 35-34 loss to Texas, including a headache and nausea. Russell said he took several helmet-to-helmet hits on Saturday, but he does not recall whether anyone in particular hurt him. So we'll see. They believe he's going to be good to go against TCU, though, so it doesn't really matter. That's the thing. Small, quick, tiny rant. I promise you. Baylor, when they lost all their quarterbacks and just could not throw the ball at all, and coming from somewhat the same offense as TCU, right? I mean, they're both similar, except Baylor can actually run the ball. Baylor just switched real quick to the Wildcat and Wild Bear, whatever you want to call it, and they just ran the ball effectively. We saw what they did against North Carolina in the bowl game. TCU, why do you refuse to run the ball? Problems I ask as a TCU Horned Frog fan. There needs to be some type of hashtag for this type of stuff. USC has signed a permission to contact form for backup quarterback Max Brown, which will allow him to seek a transfer destination anywhere in the NCAA. There's no restrictions on him. USC was very kind and nice to Max Brown, and in which they should, because Max Brown had been sitting behind Cody Kessler for 3 years. And then he was named the starting quarterback for the Trojans, and then going 1-2, and then, being benched by Sam Darnold. So it's nice that they said, you know what, you went through a lot, so we're not going to block. So he can go to any Pac-12 school. It doesn't matter. Now, he's from the state of Washington. Now, obviously, he's not going to go to the University of Washington because Jake Browning is going to be a starting quarterback. But he could always go to Washington State. Luke Falk, he is a senior, so he will be gone next year. Could lead in right into a passing offense. He wants to show that maybe USC made a mistake. Be a way to do it. Brown, he's already graduated. He's enrolled into a master's program at USC, so he'll be eligible to play immediately next season and won't have to sit out anywhere. And also, he could transfer in time to participate in spring practice at the new school, so he can be there in January or whenever spring semester starts for that specific school. But it comes to no surprise. Once he lost the starting job, and they're rocking with Sam Darnold, which they're doing a good job with, by the way. There's no reason to not, let him transfer anywhere. On the other side, UCLA sophomore quarterback Josh Rosen is expected to miss the remainder of the season with the shoulder injury. Now Rosen, he has been dealing with a nerve issue in his right throwing shoulder. He's missed UCLA's past 2 games, losses to Washington State and Utah. Senior Mike Fuffle has taken first team snaps in practice this week, and UCLA will face Colorado on tomorrow night, which will be a really good game, a game that I'll miss, but I'll record it. Now, Fuffle has thrown, I believe that's it, Fuffle. Fuffle has thrown for 779 yards, 8 touchdown passes to 8 interceptions for UCLA, who was 3-5. Yikes. It hasn't been that good for UCLA. So to wrap up college football news, we're going to do our predictions, and this time we're actually recording our predictions for the first time on the Shore Sports Show, on video, basically. So we have Maryland taking on number 3, Michigan. 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Michigan is a 31-point favorite. The reason I put this game up here is because I might be a little naive and keeping Maryland. Hey, Maryland's 5-2, 5-3 right now. Maybe they could keep it close against Michigan. Maybe, just maybe. Probably not. Michigan most likely will blow out Maryland, but I'm keeping out hope, and I want to say that, hey, I included this game in one of the prediction shows, so this should mean something, and that I get absolutely nothing if Maryland keeps it close, but whatever. Then you have Syracuse taking on number 2 Clemson, and this is just like the same game of Maryland and Michigan. It's a game in which I hope is, Syracuse can make some noise. I do like Syracuse. I like, Babers. maybe keeping hope alive for Clemson, or for Syracuse, because Clemson's been struggling, barely squeaking by wins, which we just talked about here earlier in the show. Maybe Syracuse can take advantage of some of those mistakes. Probably not. Syracuse gets a big win. They are a 27-point favorite. This game's on ABC or ESPN2. Now let's get into some real games, right? Number 11, Florida at Arkansas. 2:30 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Florida is a 5.5-point favorite. I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm taking Arkansas. It is in Fayetteville, so I am taking Arkansas in this. Florida is just they've been very quiet, slowly quiet, just creeping up there in the rankings and trying to make some noise. I think Arkansas, with the rushing ability that they have, Allen at quarterback, makes enough plays for them. They get back on that winning track. They got embarrassed by Auburn a few weeks ago. They want to erase that and show, hey, we're still up here in the SEC. We can do something. Taking Arkansas for the W. Number 10, Nebraska taking on number 6, Ohio State on primetime, 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC. Ohio State is a 17.5-point favorite. And I'm taking Ohio State to win this game. Nebraska, they lost to Wisconsin and kind of knew it was going to happen. I knew Nebraska was just one of those teams where it was just, once they played a really good team, they were going to drop. And that's what happened. They lost to Wisconsin. I'm taking Ohio State here. I think Ohio State gets back on track. It's a home game. JT Barrett makes a few plays, gets the crowd in it. And know this is a big game to win, and it's against a top 10 team. This shows good stuff for the committee and boost them back up there. Whether they win by 17.5 more points, I don't know. I'm not the betting guy. I'm not going to say the spread. I'm not going to pick on the spread. That's up to you. But I am taking Ohio State to win this game. Then finally, number 1, Alabama taking on number 13, LSU at 7 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Alabama is a 7.5-point favorite. And this is a very close game. A very close game. I want to pick LSU because I like chaos, and it'd be fun to see how the committee would go with Alabama, where they would still put on. I'd probably still keep it at number 1 just because it's Alabama. But it'd be awesome to see LSU get the victory, especially for Ed Orgeron being the head coach there. I would like to see LSU win it. I don't think they will. I think it's going to be one of those ugly games, 13-6 type of thing. So I'm taking Alabama, and we'll see. But those are my picks. Let me know your picks in the comment section down below. Tweet me at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook at Short Sports Show. It is been a very hot summer. I say summer, see? That's what Texas heat has done. It is winter. We are November 2nd. That's today, November 2nd. And real quick, I'm going to show the weather right now. All right, 74 degrees, but it's raining apparently, but now the sun's coming out. But 85 degrees yesterday. Really? November? And I get people, oh, it's Texas. You should be used to this by now. I am, but it's November and it's 85 degrees. That's a problem. That's a major problem. I did, and it's funny because it comes at the same time. I just got done watching the Leonardo DiCaprio. He did that documentary with National Geographic, Before the Flood. Before the Flood. It's on YouTube. National Geographic's channel. Go watch it. The full hour-and-a-half thing. It was in theaters, I believe, a couple of weeks ago or a month ago or so. It's really good. It's really good. And global warming, it's real. It's real, people. I'm not a tree hugger, but I'm just saying it's real. And I'm over here using like a ton of electricity, so I guess I have no room to speak. But yeah, let's take a quick break here on the Short Sports Show. Check out InnerGrind and Patreon.
Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? Now, whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not a Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking to a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something.
So let's move on to the NFL. And this week we had, of course, yesterday. I thought it was last week, but this week, Tuesday, was the trade deadline. And it passed, and nothing happened. No big trades happened. We'll talk about the Jamie Collins trade here in just a bit and some of the things that we've been hearing. But first, Kansas City Chiefs, and this is some sad news. On Tuesday, they placed running back Jamaal Charles on injured reserve. Charles had begun having soreness in a surgically repaired right knee 2 weeks ago, leading up to the Chiefs' Week 7 game against the New Orleans Saints. A source told ESPN that Charles will have what is described as hopefully pretty minor procedure done on his knee today. End quote. Now, the move to IR means Charles will miss at least 8 weeks this season, the rest of the season, basically. Now, Charles, he turns 30 in December. And we all know 30 is that famous number for a running back where they basically just can't produce anymore. And Jamaal Charles hasn't been producing for quite a while now because of injuries. So now he could return for the final 2 games of the season and the playoffs if the Chiefs reach the postseason. But given the continued setbacks that he's had since tearing his ACL last October, a return seems very unlikely, which sucks because of the career that Jamaal Charles had, and you start to wonder if these knee injuries didn't happen, where he would be at in terms of some of the records for the Chiefs and his overall career. But sadly, it just didn't work out that way. This season, Charles has only played in 3 games, and is only for 12 carries for 40 yards and 1 touchdown. That's it. So, and it most likely means, since a return is very unlikely for him, and that's not to say the Chiefs won't make the playoffs. I think they will, but I just think where they're at with the Chiefs, with West and a few of their other guys, Spencer Ware, I think they're ready to move on. And that's why this IR designation could mark the end of Charles' career in Kansas City. His contract with the Chiefs runs through 2017, when he is scheduled to make $3.75 million and a roster bonus of $3 million, in which the Chiefs would likely go ahead and say no thank you. And I think maybe Charles sees the writing on the wall and says, I'm doing all this rehabbing. It's not getting that much better. It's not to look at a negative side of point. I always try to stay positive, but where he's at in his age, and obviously the other health issues that you could potentially have with football, with concussions and stuff like that, maybe he looks at it and says, I'm just ready to settle down with my family. I played my game. I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I proved people wrong. The Chiefs will always love Jamaal Charles for everything he's given them. Maybe it's time to call it a career and just close it at that, because what's the point of, not being able to walk with his kids if he takes another bad hit and he comes back next year? I mean, he's made enough money where $3.75 million, while it's a lot to us, it's probably chump change to him, and he probably doesn't need it. So, time to look at the bigger picture. Washington left tackle Trent Williams was suspended for 4 games Tuesday for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. The suspension, which is without pay, begins immediately. He will be eligible to return to the Washington's roster on December 5th after Washington's game December 4th against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, he is permitted to take part in team meetings and work out the team's facility during his suspension. Here's a good thing. I don't really like Trent Williams because of the, what he did with Richard Sherman, fighting him, and he always fights other people. Now, he just signed, he's in his second year of a 5-year, $66 million extension that he signed back in 2015. I bet he wishes he was still on his rookie contract because he will now forfeit $1.65 million of base salary and per game bonuses during his suspension. Maybe it's chump change to him too, but hey, it's $1.65 million plus your per game bonuses, whatever they were, that you're not getting anymore. They're voided. It's gone. You're not getting it back. Oh well. Now this marks the second time for Williams for having a 4-game suspension. He tested positive multiple times for marijuana during the 2011 season, and Williams is going to miss some key games, some really key games. He will miss the Vikings game, the Packers game, the Cowboys game, and against the Arizona Cardinals, all of which have, well, except for the Packers, a pretty good defense. And Kirk Cousins, let's just say when he's under pressure, is not really a good quarterback. And when you lose your best offensive lineman, things start to happen. Not saying they're going to lose all 4, but the odds of them winning go down. Now the Jets, they played a game of running back roulette on Tuesday. I feel bad for Niall Davis. As we all know, he's with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was then traded to the Green Bay Packers. Played 1 game, carried the ball for 5 yards. Then is cut by the Green Bay Packers. Then on Tuesday, he is claimed on waivers by the New York Jets. And just a few hours later, they then cut him. Not because of anything he did. It's because they have agreed to terms with free agent running back C.J. Spiller. So, I feel bad because now for the Jets were already in negotiations with C.J. Spiller before they claimed Niall Davis. But they hadn't received any commitment or any word on Spiller with that contract, so they're like, all right, it's been a few hours, so we're going to go get Davis. So they got Davis. Then, that's when they heard C.J. Spiller had agreed to terms with them, and so now they had to go and cut Niall Davis. I feel bad. Because Niall Davis, he wasn't that bad a few years ago. This year, maybe it's hard to learn a different playbook in a week and then get cut and then try to learn something different and then you're not even there with the team. It's just, it's a little embarrassing, a little sad at the same time. Hopefully he finds a team. The New England Patriots have traded linebacker Jamie Collins to the Cleveland Browns for a compensatory 3rd-round pick. Now, Collins' contract will expire at the end of the season, and this was really the main point. Now, you look at Belichick and what he's done in cutting a lot of really good players or releasing them, trading them, something throughout his time. And I was going to get the thing, but you know what? It's going to be, I can't find it. But he's cut a lot of people. He's released a lot of people. He's made some big names go away. And for Collins, it looks like there's been a little bit of an attitude issue. Now, Collins, again, his contract is set to expire at the end of the season. And at one point, when the Patriots, they did want to re-sign him. Don't get me wrong. The Patriots, they wanted to keep Jamie Collins. But when Jamie Collins said he wanted Von Miller money, and for people who need a refresher, Von Miller signed a 6-year, $114.5 million deal that included $70 million guaranteed. When he wanted, quote, Von Miller money, Patriots said, you know what? No. Bye. We'll go get another linebacker. So, he's gone. That's it. So, for any athletes that are out there and if you make it big, watch what you say. Because even if you thought you were going to just negotiate with them and say, look, what if I say Von Miller money and then they give me $8 to $10 million, $20 million less, it's still a lot more than what I was wanting or originally. Boom, I can get that. I'm highballing them. Right? Well, you might watch it because that might be the last words you say with that team. Now, for the Cleveland Browns, the trade is designed to help a defense that has struggled to stop teams all season long, those four Cleveland Browns. And they're thin at outside linebacker as well. No team has scored fewer than 25 points on the Browns this season, and 4 of 8 of those teams have scored more than 30, including the New York Jets, who suck at offense. They're terrible. And the Browns should have been their first victory. They should have been able to close out that game. They didn't. And so, the outside linebacker spot, it's been thin. Paul Kruger, he was released during the preseason. Nate Orchard, he was put on IR early in the season. And the Browns are tied for 21st in the NFL with 14 sacks in 8 games. Jamie Collins, he can boost that up for them. Now, there is a risk involved for Cleveland. They don't get Jamie Collins for free now because Collins can become a free agent at the end of the season. Now, the Browns will have to convince him to sign a long-term deal to a team that's currently winless, right? They got to sell him. And mainly, it's not going to be hard to sell him. You just got to show how much money you're going to pay him. He doesn't care what city he lives in. He doesn't care about the team. Based on everything what's saying, when he also came from a team at Southern Miss. His last year at Southern Miss, he was from Southern Miss. They went 0-12 that year. Texas State beat him that year. I remember. It was in Hattiesburg, and they beat him. And, apparently his attitude was really bad. He didn't care. He didn't want to put the work in, and that translated into the NFL. Somehow it worked out for him in New England with that attitude because you read anything on Belichick, you listen to other players and what they talk about from a different team and working with Belichick and that Patriot staff, and you have to have really good work ethic. Apparently played it off just well enough because from a lot of people who have been talking this past week on Jamie Collins, they said that he was a guy that when it got a little difficult, he would just quit on you. Patriots have said enough. So the Browns, if they don't sign him to a long-term contract, he is in a spot where the Browns can place a franchise tag on him. And, that wouldn't be a shocker if the Browns did that, so that way they can adjust to see where they want to go. And they have enough money. They have the first or second most amount of cap space. I mean, they're fine. They're fine. They can give them the franchise tag. They have $50 million, $51 million in salary cap. They're fine. What else was I going to say on Collins? This season, in 7 games with the Patriots, he had 43 tackles, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble. He's only 27 years young. About signing him, what could come in, whether they want to give him a long-term deal or franchise tag, is going to really depend on what they do with Terrell Pryor. Now, Terrell Pryor has to be their main target to sign to a long-term deal. They cannot settle a franchise tag on Terrell Pryor. They have to sign him to a long-term deal. I'm happy to see Terrell Pryor find a position and succeed in the NFL now. I wasn't a fan of him in college based on what he did, but I've gotten over it. And for him to continue to have a positive attitude and his willingness to work in the community of Cleveland and what he's done with some of his projects, I absolutely am a fan of Terrell Pryor, and I hope that Cleveland does the smart thing and signs him to a 4 or 5 year max deal that they can give him. And that will have implications on what they do with Jamie Collins afterwards. If the Cleveland Browns are smart enough to, of course, sign Terrell Pryor first. Now, I guess it might be the main topic for the show today. Is Tom Brady better be the unanimous MVP for the NFL this season? There's no one that's close to him. There's no one. And I would love to debate if you believe there's an MVP worthy over Tom Brady. Now, I've got a little thing here I'm going to read, so bear with me. And I'm not a Tom Brady fanboy or anything, so I don't want to get that because it from what I'm about to say and what I have in front of me, it's going to sound like I'm a Tom Brady fanboy. I promise you I'm not. But when Tom Brady, he was suspended for the first 4 games, as we know. A significant blow for the New England Patriots. They have to go with Jimmy Garoppolo, kind of worrying where they're going to be. We thought, they might struggle. Maybe go 2-2 at best. No. They did okay. They overcame. They went 3-1. Now they're 7-1. And honestly, they are the best team. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago that they look like a lock for the Super Bowl. No one was able to name a team in the AFC that could take down the Patriots. Because if Patriots have the number 1 seed and they have home field advantage, there's no way Denver's going into Foxborough and beating New England. It's not happening. If it's in Denver, okay, we'll have a discussion about it. there's a really good chance Denver can win that game. In Foxborough, not happening. The Steelers still not healthy, and even if they are, I don't see them beating them. They have too many flaws. Patriots are a team really without any flaws. Sure, they might have a defense that kind of bends and doesn't break, but the main point is they don't break. And now, if we're talking about Tom Brady, through 4 games, 1,319 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a passer rating of 133.9, and he is second in the league in yards per game with 330, 11th in touchdown passes, and first in passer rating by a wide margin. He's completed 73.1% of his passes and is the only starting quarterback over 70% this season. As it stands, Brady is on pace for 3,957 passing yards, 36 touchdown passes, and no interceptions this season. In just 12 games. Now, you stretch those numbers over a 16-game slate. Had he played all 16 games, he'd be on track for 5,200 passing yards, 48 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. But, we could take away his no interceptions because no starting quarterback has ever gone a season without throwing a pick. And only one quarterback has had at least 5,200 passing yards and 48 touchdown passes. Now, of course, Brady can't reach those numbers because he's only played 12 games. This season, he'll only play 12 games. But put it in perspective just how incredible this season has been for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. He is the unanimous MVP. And Roger Goodell, you damn know he does not want to hand that MVP trophy award to Tom Brady, given what happened. Because how can you say what you basically perceived as a cheater to then win in that same season, win your main award for the most valuable player? I mean, if you look at it that way, most fans are going to say, oh, Tom Brady wins the MVP, cool. But when you look at what happened, being basically convicted as a cheater to coming into that season, serving his time, and then winning the most valuable player award, it's yikes. Now, only once since 1970 has a quarterback started 12 games or fewer and has thrown over at least 3,000 yards and 30 touchdown passes. That was Joe Montana back in 1987. And again, with Ben Roethlisberger injured, Peyton Manning out of the league, Drew Brees on a bad team, and Aaron Rodgers struggling, Brady is the most reliable candidate to win the MVP. Of course, people are even going to throw out Ezekiel Elliott. A rookie is not going to win. He can have the most rushing yards to win Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's awesome. He's not winning MVP. Not over Tom Brady. It's not happening, guys. So when it's all said and done, Brady will win the NFL MVP, and when he does, it'll be one of the most incredible feats in league history. And it happened to a guy who's a cheater. Where we stand on that, that's what it'll be. Let me know in the comment section if you believe someone else is out there to beat Tom Brady in the MVP award. I don't see it. I would love to see who you pick because I looked, I cannot find anybody that can beat Tom Brady right now. It's just not happening. Just like I don't think anybody in the AFC is beating the New England Patriots in the playoffs. Oh, man. So we go from the high of the New England Patriots to the low of the Cleveland Browns. And we ask the question, will the Cleveland Browns finish 0-16? Poor Cleveland. They're now 0-8 for the first time since 1975. They've won one of their last 19 games dating back to October last season. They're now 3-26 dating from the end of the 2014 season. It was right there in front of the Cleveland Browns. They had the first victory of the season against the New York Jets, who are not really a good team, and it was right there. Josh McCown, back from broken collarbone, only threw for 227 yards in the first half. Most first half passing yards from a Browns quarterback since Bernie Kosar in 1986. They were up 20-7 at halftime. They looked like a real team. They looked like, hey, all right, they can build something here. They're not going to go 8-8 on a winning streak, but they got something here. They can do something. And then the Jets put together one of the biggest second half comebacks in team history to win 31-28. Because, of course they did. It's Cleveland. They played the Browns. Of course they're going to have your biggest comeback in team history. Cleveland managed just 133 total yards in the second half, 84 on a meaningless scoring drive in the fourth quarter. That was basically garbage. It's just, you look at the remaining schedule for the Cleveland Browns, and you try to find one win you feel positive that they can get. This week they have the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, and you know what? The NFL also screwed the Cleveland Browns because they knew that they were going to struggle this year. Now, I don't think they thought they would be 0-8 at this point, but they knew they would struggle, and they gave them a Week 13 bye. That is their bye week in Week 13. Who does that to a bad team, to a rebuilding team? Why would you give them a week? You should have gave them a bye week back in Week 8 or Week 9. Why give it at Week 13? What are they going to try to fix when they could potentially be 2-11 at that point? 2-10, whatever. What are they going to fix? You knew they weren't going to have a winning record at that point. So you give them a Week 13 bye, and most likely they're going to be 0-12. What is there to fix? I mean, there's a lot to fix, but what can they fix, I should say? So they have the Cowboys this week at the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe that's a victory. Maybe, because Baltimore, they're a little banged up. They might still be banged up then. Maybe they squeak by. I doubt it, but that's honestly their best chance at a victory. Because then they have the Steelers, who, whether they have Ben Roethlisberger or not, most likely still a loss. They have the Giants. Thankfully, both of those games at home. Still, most likely, losing. Then they have their bye week. Then, after that, a home game against the Bengals. At the Buffalo Bills. Home against the Chargers. And it'd be my luck and that's Christmas Eve, too. It'd be my luck as a San Diego Chargers fan that the Browns would be winless to that point and then get their first victory over my Chargers. If it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen to the Chargers. And then they finish out the season January 1st at Pittsburgh. I seriously do not see a victory. Maybe the Ravens, maybe we feel comfortable enough that the Ravens lose that game. I don't see it, though. But that's honestly their best chance. They're not beating the Cowboys. They're not beating the Steelers. They're not beating the Giants. They're not beating the Bengals. They're not beating the Bills. Not beating the Steelers again. And Chargers, I would like to say they won't beat them, but maybe the Ravens and the Chargers are their last hope. Cleveland, again, they get the last possible bye week of the season is Week 13, and that's when they get theirs. The NFL screwed them there, honestly. Now, only 4 teams in NFL history have finished the season winless, and only one within a full 16-game season. Of course, that was the 2008 Detroit Lions, who were just bad. But, hey, you at least have the Cleveland Indians, right? I mean, y'all should win, which they lost last night. And what's funny is all the Cleveland fans have been joking about the Golden State Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead. I'm just going to end it right there. Just going to end it right there. The Carolina Panthers head coach Ron Rivera fully supports the complaints by quarterback Cam Newton expressed following Sunday's 30-20 win over the Arizona Cardinals about not being treated fairly as a pocket passer. Rivera said Monday that he had ongoing discussions with NFL officials as well as Commissioner Roger Goodell about the late hits on his reigning NFL MVP. And this is what Cam Newton had to say, actually.
I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's really taking the fun out of the game for me. Honestly, it really is, because at times I don't even feel safe. Right, and enough is enough. You know, I plan on talking to Commissioner Goodell about this, but it's not fun, and I don't know what I have to do. I mean, I showed a lot of frustration today, and I apologize to the referee, who I was talking to, but I don't think it's a person that can go through what I go through and still keep their head. You know what I'm saying?
So Cam Newton was hit at least 4 times in the helmet during this opener against Denver. Only 1 penalty was called, and that was neglected by an intentional grounding penalty. So, you have that, and the play that Cam Newton's really upset about was when Cardinals defensive tackle Calais Campbell came in low, hit him. It was an incomplete pass, and he was upset about it, in which the NFL concluded that officials should have penalized the Arizona Cardinals for an illegal hit Sunday on Cam Newton. Now, Goodell promised Riviera that he, in their conversation on Monday, that he would speak directly to Newton. So we'll have to see if that happens or not. Cam Newton obviously is not happy with what has happened and about the hits he's taken. And they're using his size as, and I'm not saying Cam Newton's complaining because he has taken some rough hits, but he's also a big guy. He's 6'5", 240 plus pounds. Some hits you're supposed to be able to take and absorb, and which he does. But at the same time, I don't know. Let's wrap up the show here. We got just a couple things. Tyrann Mathieu will miss the 3 to 6 weeks, with a shoulder injury. Percy Harvin comes out of retirement, signed with the Buffalo Bills, and we have our predictions we're about to do right now. Week 9 NFL predictions here on the Short Sports Show. First up, the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New York Giants. Both teams 4-3. Both teams needing a win in divisional play to continue to keep something going up for them because now they're all chasing the Dallas Cowboys. Game is 12 p.m. Central Time on Fox, and the Giants are a 3-point favorite, mainly because they're a home team. Home teams get a 3-point favorite automatically, and then depending on the team, that's when they go and change the thing. So I'm taking the Eagles here, though. I think the Eagles have enough to get this victory, bounce back. Carson Wentz, this will be a huge game going on the road in a divisional game against the Giants. Going with the Eagles. I think they have enough here. The 2-5 Carolina Panthers going against the 3-4 Los Angeles Rams. You would think by week 9 I'd get it. At 3:05 p.m. Central Time on Fox, Carolina is a 3-point favorite. And I'm taking Carolina here, but it's funny how we went from Los Angeles Rams being, 3-1 at the time they were. Like, wow, this team might actually be good. They're getting some pretty solid victories. And now they're 3-4 with a chance to most likely go 3-5. And we're like, the Rams. The 4-4 Tennessee Titans go on the road to take on my 3-5 San Diego Chargers at 3:25 p.m. on CBS. San Diego is a 5-point favorite. And I'm taking my San Diego Chargers here. I like us to bounce back. Playing Denver twice in 4 weeks is a little ridiculous. Good job, NFL scheduling. But Tennessee Titans are going to bring a really good challenge to the Chargers. Hopefully the Chargers can get enough, stay healthy, even though we're missing. I don't want to talk about injuries with the Chargers. But it's be good. And I'm in a weird position because it's like, well, Chargers, actually, you know what? I hope the Tennessee Titans wins. We don't have a chance at playoffs. We really don't. You're going to have 3 teams come out for the playoffs for the AFC West. That's going to be the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chiefs. So Chargers really have no shot. So with that being said, we have nothing really to play for. So I kind of want us to just start losing, go 3-13 maybe, get a high draft pick again, get a good guy, actually sign him quicker. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, we won't pick a winner. The 6-2 Denver Broncos and the 6-2 Oakland Raiders on Sunday Night Football. The line is even right now. That might change by Sunday, most likely will, but right now it's even. And who would have thought we would say the Sunday Night Football game would be against the Broncos and Raiders, both at 6-2? I know I didn't. I'll raise my hand. I didn't think they would. They are. They're both 6-2. The Raiders are one of the most undisciplined teams. They had 20 penalties. 20 penalties last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and still won the game. It's more on the Buccaneers just being bad. Broncos, on the other hand, very disciplined team, very good team. Kind of struggling on offense still. Banged up at running back. Devontae Booker should be good to go. I'm taking the the Broncos here. I really want the Raiders to win this game. I know coming from a Chargers fan, it's kind of weird. I like to see the Raiders win this game, but I think the Broncos, they're going to kind of show who's the big dog, being on the road, a big-time game, Sunday Night Football. They're going to be like, look, Raiders, still got a couple more years. Us, Broncos, it's our time right now. Let's show you who the big brother is. I think the Broncos get the victory. Then finally, Monday Night Football, we have the 4-4 Buffalo Bills against the 4-2-1 Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football. 7:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Seattle is a 7-point favorite. I am taking the Seattle Seahawks to win this game. Percy Harvin, even though he signed with the Buffalo Bills, will not play in this game because he hasn't even practiced or played in a game in over a year. So why would you expect him to play this week? Someone told me that. Someone said he was going to play. Who? Percy Harvin's not going to play. So, yeah, I got the Seahawks winning this game. Russell Wilson, got to have a big game here, bud. You got to show him something. You got to have a big game. Hopefully his offensive line can play up. Obviously, Jerry Hughes for the Buffalo Bills is a very good defensive end. TCU too. So it's going to be a really interesting game. I'm hoping that it's a close game, but I do want the Seahawks to get the W. Let me know who you think will win these 5 games. Tweet me at Short Sports Show and become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. We're going to take one more quick break. I know it's a much longer show than normal, but it's all good. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Going to talk some NBA news. Only 4 stories on the NBA that we're going to talk about. Actually, just what, 3? 3 stories. 3 stories on the NBA, and then we'll wrap up the show. And that'll be it. So check out InnerGrind and Patreon.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking to a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something.
So, rookie forward, Ben Simmons is, well, just to put it lightly, doesn't like the NCAA. He hates them, in fact. He's called it pointless. And he's got a new Showtime Sports documentary. The former LSU star blames the organization, the NCAA, for wasting his lone year in college by asking him to attend class. That part I don't really agree with. You're in college. You got to go to class. But this is what he said. The NCAA is effed up. One and Done, a film that will be on air on Showtime on Friday night, said, quote, everybody's making money except the players. We are the ones waking up early as hell to be the best teams and do everything they want us to do, and then the players get nothing. They say education, but if I'm there for a year, I can't get much education, end quote. Now, the documentary follows Simmons from his time as a prodigy in Australia to his high school career near Orlando, Florida, at one of the academies, and then his 1 year at LSU and his journey to the NBA draft, where he was selected first overall by the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, throughout the film, Simmons wrestles with trappings of his newfound fame. Agents and shoe companies continue to hover over him in Baton Rouge, trying to get him to basically sign a deal, even though he's not allowed to. He said when he was at LSU that he was offered a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, watches, jewelry, a house, anything. It literally is anything. People come at you offering you things, end quote. Now Simmons was barred from the Wooden Award finalist list after he failed to achieve a 2.0 GPA, and he was also benched for 4+ minutes in the conference matchup for missing a class. Now he said he stopped caring about class. He was talking about how he had no intention of attending class anymore after he became eligible for a second semester. He said, quote, I got B's and C's. I'm not going to class next semester because I don't need to. I'm here to play. I'm not here to go to school, end quote. some of the things I'm agreeing with them, and some of the things it's like, well, you're in college, dude. What do you expect to do? Now, collegiate athletes who are eligible by the end of the first semester can also compete in the second semester, even if their academics slip. Now, Simmons, he admits he stopped caring about class. Quote, Coach Jones said, "We need to make up a punishment if you miss another class. I missed my next class about preparing for better study habits. I'm going to the NBA next season. Why bull blank if it's not going to help me?" So he also said that the NCAA used him to make more money, so he planned to become a voice for collegiate athletes after he left LSU. So this is the part where I'd start to agree with him. The NCAA is messed up. I don't have a voice. I don't get paid to do it. Don't say I'm an amateur and make me take pictures and sign stuff and go to hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars off one person. I'm going off on the NCAA. Just wait. I can be a voice for everybody in college. I'm here because I have to be here at LSU. I can't get a degree in 2 semesters, so it's kind of pointless. I feel like I'm wasting time, end quote. So, obviously, you have to go to class. You're a collegiate athlete, student athlete, whatever. I get they have, time constraints, and you got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You have a meeting, then you have school, and then you have practice, and then you have study hall, and then you have film study. In some sort of way, it's around that order, and that's every single day, right? I get it. It's tough for collegiate athletes. It's tough for anybody to try to do that. Compete at a high level, both academically and athletically. It's tough. I get it. At the same point, you've got to do it. And that's why I think the NCAA does need to make something where these kids can't just go one and done. Stay there for 2 years. We do it for all the other sports. Why does it stop at basketball? Well, there's less contact, so younger players can play, blah, blah, blah. So, it should just be you have to be in college for 2 years, right? At least they get some type of associate's degree. They have 2 years in college so if the NBA doesn't work out like it doesn't for many others, especially how the draft system works in the NBA, let them, be able to go back to college and only have just a little bit of time left to go get the degree. So it really, I don't know. It's weird how where he's at and saying some of the stuff that he said, but I do agree with the last part. He can become a voice. He can become a voice for those collegiate athletes. Do need to get paid, but also we need to set something up where I also got to go to class. Ray Allen announced his retirement from the NBA. Says he is at peace with himself, and he hasn't played since 2013-14 season when he was with the Heat, but he had been linked to multiple teams over the last 2 years. Recently considering to make a comeback with either the Warriors or the Cavaliers, but obviously that's not happening. And you know what? I'm gonna save these other 2 stories for next show because they should be fine. They're nothing new. I guess actually we gotta talk about one of them. The Kevin Durant thing. He talks about Oklahoma City Thunder and Westbrook. Says Thursday's game between the Golden State Warriors and the Thunder will mark the first time Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook face each other as NBA opponents. Despite all the perceived animosity between the two, Durant says he still views Westbrook as a brother. Says, hey, this is what he told the San Jose Mercury News on Tuesday, quote, "We were brothers. We are brothers. You only see Russ and I. Everybody only sees us on the court at 7 o'clock. So how can you comment anything when we have what we have going on relationship-wise? Basketball-wise, you can make assumptions because it's out there in front of you. That's the facts. But you can't tell me what type of person I was with Russell or what type of person he was with me. They don't have a clue. They don't, so how can you say that? All the stuff I hear is lies. All that stuff that I'm taking shots at the Thunder or Russell, it's just there to try to separate us. They did it when we were playing together. They tried to separate us, so obviously they're going to do it even more now. Come on, I don't have anything against Russell. Now, while Durant is happy with having joined the Warriors, he admits that he could have done a better job of breaking the news to Westbrook by sending more than just a text message. Quote, That's something me and him will talk about. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I did it the right way. I'm owning up to that, end quote. Now, although the Thunder are now his Western Conference foes, Durant told USA Today on Tuesday that he's still watching his old teammate in Oklahoma City, and he noted how Westbrook is, quote, controlling the game, how he's dominating the game, and he really is. Westbrook is doing an unbelievable job just dominating everybody out there. So that is it for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will be back, of course, next Wednesday. Now, whether you're listening on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker.com, Stitcher Radio, whatever it might be, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening and joining again. Help me reach my goal. Just share it with your friends and family. You can even put on, when you're sharing it on Twitter, on Facebook, on social media, Instagram, whatever it might be, just put out there, hey, Dan Short's trying to get to 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. Help make it happen, and just share it out there. You never know. You never know. And I appreciate everybody that's listening on Spreaker and everywhere. Thank you guys so much. I will be back next Wednesday morning, as always. God first, God bless. I will see you guys then. I'm out. Peace.